So our last external speaker has written a lot of books on companies that do service really well. He's written about Starbucks, he's written about Ritz-Carlton, he's written about the Pike Place Fish Market, and a week and a half ago, a new book came out called The Zappos Experience. So please welcome Joseph.
Thanks, Tony. I must say, of all the service organizations I have written about, I have never been to an event that won through where they talked about a silkworm's anus, okay? This place rocks. I started the Zappos Experience with a tweet because what is a better way to tell the story of Zappos than through the voices of people who tweet about it? Just so happened to be an internal in Zappos who said, "Yes, I saw Winnie the Pooh running across the parking lot. I work at Zappos." That's how the book begins. I'm going to read every single page to you in 10 minutes. Are we ready? Stop clock, please. Well, that would be lame, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be lame for me to tell you about the Zappos Experience? Because you know what? You are the Zappos Experience. And because you are the Zappos Experience, Tony Hsieh and Robert Richmond have made sure that each of you get a copy of the book. You'll see that book flying around Zappos on Monday, and I'm flying back in to sign it for people at headquarters. So thank you all for allowing that to happen. I work with these great companies. They let me tell their story. And you know what we really do when we tell their story is we go and we let the people inside of the company tell the story. It's so great to see John playing music here live because we talk about John's story and the value of coaching. Back in the Dr. Vic day when he went to a coaching session and Dr. Vic said, "Hey, are you ever going to get on to writing some of your own stuff?" And that became his big, hairy, audacious goal. And he was able to put out an album, and he's here with all of the music thing that's going on for you today. So I am so excited that as you hopefully read through this book, you're going to see the names and faces of the people sitting right next to you. If we didn't get around to you, it's just because we didn't have enough pages in the book, basically. But we've also tried to use some technologies to integrate into the book. The first time in publishing that QR codes exist inside of a book so that those QR codes can take the reader into an experience with Zappos through video products. So we're looking at Halloween costumes of some of, like the Incredible Hulk, and just trying to give people a sense of the personality that exudes out of Zappos when they're doing things like producing product videos. We've got opportunities in there for people to see the Zappos family videos. We've got opportunities for people to engage with Zappos Insights, and we're giving everyone who buys the book a 30-day complimentary opportunity to be involved in Zappos Insights. So it's an opportunity to bring people into the funnel to learn more about the service excellence of Zappos. It's an exciting, exciting time for me as we are in launch for the Zappos Experience. And I wanted to make it known to you in addition to the opportunity that you're going to have it, read it, and share it with family and friends. So as a person who goes around the world working with the Pike Place Fish Market where they throw fish and writing books with Johnny Yokoyama, the owner of that fish market, and trying to understand how do you create experience on top of a dead fish product, right? I mean, he sells a fish morgue, okay? That's his product. How do you help someone like that create an experience so people find it craveable, so people want to come and have an experience around some dead, cold, slimy fish? Going to Starbucks and looking at how do you take a cup of coffee, one of the most eternal products of all time, and create an experience around it that is the third place, the living room of the community, where people come to it not for the product offering alone, but for the opportunity to connect and to be part of something larger than themselves. And then taking that through and experience it at the Ritz-Carlton where they have their own hive-ish culture with mottos and credos, being able to take that through so that they are able to create this sense of community of ladies and gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen, and then taking out to Zappos where there's a whole different wild breed of ladies and gentlemen serving wild and crazy ladies and gentlemen out in the world. And the beauty of it all for me ultimately is I don't care if you're serving it from Zappos, I don't care if you're serving it from Starbucks, I don't care where you're serving it. Service is part of the DNA of some companies, but far too few. And I will tell you, as someone who goes around the world looking at all kinds of businesses and exploring service excellence, that Zappos is as good as it has ever gotten. It really is as good as service gets. Which, let me give you a hint, that's kind of why I wanted to write about you, okay? So, and at the end of the day, though, I think there is a risk. There is a risk to people writing books about you because now everybody says, hey, maybe it's not just a little upstart kind of novelty, offbeat brand thing. Maybe as per Tony's book and other books being written about it, maybe there's something really going on there. Maybe there's a delivering happiness movement. Maybe they're changing the world from their little vantage point, and maybe now we have to look at them with a different level of scrutiny. And so with that level of scrutiny, I just pose a challenge to you. If you're as good as it's ever gotten, will you continue to evolve this brand to be better than it was yesterday? And that's really my fundamental challenge to you. It's a call to action in my 10 minutes of time with you. Rather than trying to tell you about the contents in the book in 10 minutes, I want to call you out. I want to call you out. When I was researching the book, I was actually in Kentucky, so a shout out to the people in Kentucky watching the live stream. I was in Kentucky and I was watching the all hands meeting and I was really enjoying the heck out of it. And it was in that moment that I really appreciated that people are serving through Zappos from all parts of the world. San Francisco, Kentucky, who knows where this is all going to go. But ultimately for me, the challenge is, are you going to make Zappos better tomorrow than Zappos was today? So with that in mind, I ask you, can you create perfect service at Zappos? Can you achieve, and I know that's audacious, and how do you do that and be humble? I think you can humbly be audacious, right? I mean, I think it's an opportunity for you to say, can we be perfect in service execution? Can we really nail the Zappos experience for perfection? And we all know we probably can't be perfect, but we can be 1 inch better than we were and 1 step closer to it than we were. So with that in mind, I would like for you to think in these terms about service. I'd like for you to think of service as a flawless product. And that product can be the delivering happiness interventions that come out of that business. It can be a product through Zappos Insights, a flawless product in the way it interfaces with other business opportunities. It can be the CLT and the flawless product there, or the flawless product that comes from the Twitter team who actually was answering questions when my editor was asking things I had no clue about. So you can imagine, I'm actually an author who's authorized, and I'm writing to the Zappos_service folks on Twitter, and they're getting me answers to help me with the book. There can be flawless service in a lot of different places. But ultimately, can you deliver flawless service? Can you deliver that flawless service exactly as your customer wants? Exactly as your customer wants. And can you do it in an environment of caring? If each and every day we strive closer to perfection on delivering the flawless product exactly as the customer wants in an environment of caring, there's some amazing payoffs. First off, people write books about you. Then you get free books. And then people sign your books. There's a lot of things that come from it. But one of the things that really comes from it is this amazing sense of purposefulness that shuts off our self button, that turns us on to otherness, which connects us to something larger in ourselves and ultimately delivers happiness internally and externally. So how do we go about doing that? Well, I think, for me, I don't do it as much as y'all do. I mean, I'm serious. Once in a blue moon, I'll deliver pretty good service. Once I delivered perfect service. Now, this stuff, when you hit it, it is the mother lode. It kicks LSD. I'm telling you. Not that I have a basis of comparison, but I read. So this is what happens. You deliver flawless service, and you have an opportunity to be grateful for being alive. You have an opportunity to be grateful that you can make a difference. No matter what you do, you can change a life today. Now, for me, this event that was my one-time flawless service was my buddy, Patch Adams. And some of you are looking for Robin Williams, aren't you? So Patch and I go around, we clown in hospitals, orphanages, hospice programs around the world. And so this happened for me one time while clowning with Patch. We were in an orphanage in China where this particular customer was a little girl most probably going to be a little girl, right? One child per household. If you can hide your pregnancy from the state, you can then deliver that child into the community, and then ultimately you have the chance to play again in the genetic lottery and maybe get a boy and pass your lineage. So it's going to be a little girl. I got a little girl, rows and rows of cribs, and this one little girl, kind of a hard customer. She's partially sighted, muscle atrophied from being tied up a lot because there's not enough people to serve these kids. So she's got some muscle atrophy. She's got partial sight. She's touch resistant from not being touched a lot and not being able to see what's about to touch her. So ultimately, this little girl is my target of delivering flawless service. Well, for once in my life, I actually delivered a decent hug. I mean, I'm a guy, so you know what a hug is. It's like, whoops, we had contact, right? I mean, that's a hug. And I'm a Westerner, so it's going to be dang it on my terms or else. But in this case, I waited her out. I played my guitar. This particular clown character is Looney Tunes, and he's a guitar-playing character, and he plays guitar until she crawled as best she could near to him, and he reached up, grabbed her, put her on his chest, and he could feel her heartbeat against his chest. And in that moment, I lost myself in what happiness is all about, losing our own self into this moment of connectedness where all it was a synchronized heartbeat, hers against mine. When we deliver flawless service like you get the opportunities to do, and you're going to have plenty of opportunities this next coming month and so, when you deliver flawless service, you should be grateful because you have a chance to make a difference. And the last piece of this for me is when I was able to hold this little girl. I think it really begs the question of service serves us. I didn't remember if I actually went to China to hold her or if I went to China to have her hold me. See, I'm an old guy, unlike most of the people at Zappos. I am way old. I was born August 11, 1960. Yep, there were people born back in those times. And in 1960, when I was born, I was a kindred spirit to this little girl, it turns out. You see, my mom hid my pregnancy for all 9 months of my pregnancy. Now, she had a prior child about 3 years earlier out of wedlock, and she was able to hide that pregnancy for 8 months when her parents detected that she was pregnant. I have very bright grandparents, as you can probably infer. 8 months, she hid that pregnancy. All of a sudden, she's got me in her for 9 months, travels across state lines, because she'd been warned after the first child in 1957. It wasn't all that cool to bring home a child without a dad attached. You can't make headlines, and you can't sell a lot of tabloids by just claiming you have a child that's illegitimate. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to get at, some of you, vague reference to, Jason. Okay, so anyway, very vague. All right, so the back to the matter is, 1957, no dad attached. She gets in trouble from her parents. They were Italian. They said, "You have disgraced la familia." So she knew she had to bring a dad home or no baby, and unfortunately, she didn't have a dad to bring home with me either. So she hid my pregnancy for all 9 months, went across state lines, gave birth to me in Raton, New Mexico. She's from Colorado. She tried to convince the hospital not to put this child back in her arms to go back home because there'd be hell to pay. But the hospital didn't get it, so she had the baby in her arms. I'm in her arms. She goes across state lines, panicking. On the bus ride, as you might imagine, she hid this baby for 9 months. Now she's got it in her arms. She's going to have to face the music. She gets out of the bus in Colorado, goes around the bus station there in Trinidad, Colorado, puts me in a trash can. Yeah, ooh. Oh. Well, the cool part is I had a great life. Look at me, come on. Adopted a Joe and Marie Michelli who loved on me something fierce. And I can tell you, despite all their love, until I served this little girl in China, I always thought of myself as a flawed product that couldn't deliver flawless service until some little girl in China held on to me. You're holding on to a lot of people's hopes and dreams this Christmas season. You're holding on to a lot of dreams for people like me who really believe in a utopian society where people can come together and work in hives to change the world. Will you please take on the challenge of delivering perfect service to each and every person you possibly can within the context of your personal emotional connections and your operational excellence. Thank you, Zappos, for letting me write the Zappos Experience. Yeah!
Thank you, Joseph.